Hmm. I have to think about that. Someone was asking the question if Black history lessons during the time that I was in school were informative. No, they were not. In fact, Black History Month for me was embarrassing. Yeah, it was embarrassing because I remember sitting in the classroom in elementary, middle, and high school and showing my ancestors in chains. That was the information that I was given. I wasn't given the story of the movie that was inspired by the three women by the who were the mathematicians. They're the ones who were responsible for getting those astronauts to the moon. Heard nothing of that. I remember asking once, where were the blacks in the West? Because we only saw the white cowboys. And my teacher looked at me and said he didn't know. Now, whether he knew or didn't, I don't know. Or didn't want us to know. But black history for me was not like it is now. There was nothing to be proud of. The only figures we were spoken to about was Martin Luther King, George Washington Carver, and Crispus Attucks. He was the first black to die in one of the Revolutionary Wars. You can't have Martin without Malcolm. You can't have either of those without Marcus Garvey, without Nat Turner. We didn't know about the Black Cowboys. We didn't know that Bill Pickett was the one who coined the term bulldogging because he created it. We didn't know any of that. We didn't know about Dr. Mae Jemison. We didn't know that there were others who were denied patents because of the color of their skin. A lot of these inventions that are named, owned by whites, was not so. I'm finding out now that so many of our people created things, but because of the color of their skin, even the ones that were enslaved, they were not allowed to get credit for that. So imagine sitting in a classroom, a little black boy or black girl, and showing your history as one of being, your folks came from chains. But what I found out later is this: they didn't bring over from Africa slaves. They brought over physicists, astronomers, mathematicians, doctors. They brought over people who, in the year BC, who knew how to create and run dynasties. But yet we were shown the mediocre. We were shown that we were less than. That's a problem. And absolutely, it has bearing on emotional and mental wellness. It's depressing. When you see your future, you see that you came from the bottom of a boat, but they didn't tell us all the things that they're telling us today. It is imperative that that our history be told. I don't mind that we have to do it ourselves. Each one teach one. Because how is it that you would rely on the oppressor to teach you your history? Now you think about that. So, no, absolutely not. Black history was the most embarrassing time for me coming up in school. They didn't talk to us about Malcolm because he was considered a rebel. And all they could think about him was that he used the term white devils. So I have to ask the question: do you know the difference between post Mecca Malcolm and pre Mecca Malcolm? When Malcolm went over before he went to Mecca, yes, he felt like that the white people oppressed us, that they had nothing that they could offer the movement. But when he went to Mecca and he saw that he'd been lied to, and he saw all types of men and women kneeling and praying together, his whole outlook changed. So did Dr. Martin Luther King's. His outlook changed too, because he realized that America was not going to make good on that blank check that she had written to blacks and non-whites. So both of them, their mindset changed. You need to listen to speeches by Dr. King. Oh, he did more than I Have a Dream. Before he died, he said to Harry Belafonte, Harry, I think we are running into a burning house, meaning that all of the nonviolent and all of the stuff that he had preached, he may not have been on point. So no, black history for me then was embarrassing, it was depressing. I was almost ashamed to be me until the civil rights movement kicked off. I'm a 60s baby, 62 years old. So my grandmother lived through that. And absolutely, I'm proud to be who I am. Once I figured out the lies that we've been told and fed. So let me tell you really quickly, Black history, I'm Black 365, 24/7. I am history. I've made history myself. So please teach Black, white, and other all of the history. I had one woman who said she didn't want her child traumatized by the murder of Dr. King. Well, how do you think we felt sitting there watching our ancestors in chains, being maimed, burned, lynched? No, you can't have it both ways. So, to answer the question, yeah, no, I wasn't proud of Black history back in the day. I am now because I know who I am. I know what my folks, what my ancestors brought to the table. I know that they were robbed of their heritage and their patents and their brilliance. But we are a brilliant people, and I'm so glad to be a part. If I could change my race, I wouldn't. I'm proud to be a Black woman. Drama.